All right. Good morning, world. My name's Indigo. I'm a yoga instructor. Been a professional belly dancer for a great majority of my adult life. I do have Sparkalicious and Suki over here. They're saying good morning, as well as both my betta fish tanks back here. As well, I'm a physical therapist assistant, so I work in the clinic and I see lots of bodies. I've, as an adult, most of my adult life, I've worked in movement of some form with adults for the great majority of my adult life. What I wanted to go over today was one of my favorites is diaphragmatic breathing. And I want to take a moment about the why for diaphragmatic breathing. So the diaphragm is a muscle. It's on the inside of our ribs. It's a little bit different than other muscles. Same, but a little bit different. When you inhale, the diaphragm kind of expands down, all the way down here, like down, they talk a lot about into that kind of pelvic area. The diaphragm just maybe not expands, but gently pushes down. And then as you inhale, inhale, going down, exhale, rising up. So inhale, making room, exhale, coming back up. Also inhale, opens up a little bit, making room, exhale, getting small again. So inhale, I guess you would say it contracts. Exhale, well, that doesn't make sense, excuse me. Inhale, expands, exhale, contracts. Inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. Diaphragmatic breathing has been known to help people when, so definitely fight or flight. Fight or flight is a huge one in our world these days. It's very easy to be stuck in fight or flight. I know, we're constantly hearing about all the crazy chaos of the world. We're constantly having our attention and our needs. We're being pulled 27 different areas at all moments in time in our world, as well as, just like I know, at least in America, life has gotten very hard for a lot of people. Just, are your bills going to be paid at the end of the month, right? Right there. That's an easy way to go into fight, flight, or freeze because you're stressed, right? So stress brings on fight, flight, or freeze. A little bit of that is good for us. However, a lot of us tend to get locked in that area. As well, when we shallow breathe, or when we don't use our diaphragm to breathe, we tend to overly utilize the muscles, the secondary breathing muscles, or the muscles of the neck and this upper shoulder girdle area here. You can see people who have done a lot of shallow breathing, their neck muscles will be overpronounced, and this upper shoulder area will be very overpronounced. They're the ones that, they just have those thick looking muscles and neck and shoulder muscles that look like they don't know how to relax. And honestly, in parts because they've gone most of their life without relaxing. And while it isn't just smokers who will do that, a lot of times you do see smokers who are, as smokers get older, their lungs just aren't able to get a good breath. And so literally these secondary muscles up here are constantly contracted, just begging for any gulp of oxygen they can bring into the lungs. So there's a couple different ways I like to look at diaphragmatic breathing. We're going to start with kind of that first one, the big belly diaphragmatic breathing. This is where I start level 1, teaching people to diaphragmatic breathe. Also, I know athletes tend to use diaphragmatic breathing a lot. If you want to optimize your breathing, singers use a lot of diaphragmatic breathing. Again, if you want to optimize that breathing, you too stop, please. If you want to optimize your breathing, you need to be able to utilize your diaphragm. It's pretty easy, something I've been doing since I was in middle school. I was lucky enough to have a middle school teacher who taught us how to do this, and I started it then. I'm going to turn to the side a little bit. Let's hope these two will get along. Okay, what you're going to do, you're going to put your hand on your belly. You can put both hands on your belly if you'd like, and let's feel free to close our eyes. If you can, we're going to try to breathe in and out through our nose, definitely as much as you can, inhaling through your nose. When we inhale, let's just take that, we'll start by taking that long, sustained, full, complete inhalation. And as you inhale, I want you to inflate your belly like a big balloon. So inhale, allow your belly to inflate like a big balloon, just as big as you can. On the inhales, belly inflates this big balloon. Exhale, belly deflates. We're gonna do this for a few moments, a good handful or two of breaths. Feel free to keep your eyes closed. Inhaling, breathing in as best you can through the nose, inflating your belly. Let your belly get big. Let that low gut get nice and big as you can. And then as you exhale, I want that belly to deflate. Exhaling if you can through the nose. However, if you need to exhale through your mouth, that's fine as well. As we inhale, I want you to take long, full, complete inhalations. Fill up, fill up, fill up, fill up, fill up, fill up, fill up as much as you can. And then as we exhale, it is equally important as we're deflating that belly to take that long, full, complete exhalation. And I should have mentioned this already. However, feel free to find whatever seated position works for you. Maybe lying down on your back works for you really well. It's hard to see. However, as I'm inhaling, my low belly, my gut, my belly is inflating as big as I can, and then exhaling and allowing it to deflate. Take a few more breaths like this. Continue to practice this as much as you can, as often as you can. If you are relaxing, just sitting, hanging out, maybe you're hanging out in traffic, wherever you are, if you're relaxing, you don't need to engage your abdominal muscles. Every time you catch yourself breathing, tune back into this deep diaphragmatic belly breathing. And I'd like to go ahead and go on to the second part of diaphragmatic breathing, or I guess what I call level 2 or the next level. And I employ this, or utilize this when I dance a lot. When I, if I'm doing yoga or some sort of activity where I need to think about my posture, if I need to engage those low abdominals. This is also, I believe, how they teach you how to breathe in Pilates, right? Because you're utilizing these low abdominals. So you need to know how to engage those low abdominals. At the same time, we need to know how to utilize our diaphragm. So keep practicing that first step, because that's going to teach you that first belly breath technique we worked on. That's going to teach you how to utilize your diaphragm. It's going to start you to tap into the diaphragm. And then what I'd also like us to work on, so for next part, or kind of the level 2, is, okay, I want to use my diaphragm when I'm exercising, right? Or when I need to work on my posture. So I got to engage this low, I've got to keep my low abs engaged. I have to keep my low abs engaged when I'm exercising, but I still want to diaphragmatic breathe, right? So next level is keep those low abs engaged. And I'm talking low abs. We're talking those gut muscles right above the pubic bone, really, right? Seriously, feel that right above that pubic bone, right there. Engaging, maybe you engage your pelvic floor muscles, but definitely these low gut muscles. I want those guys engaged. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that deep breath in, keeping the low abdominals, low gut muscles engaged. and exhale. It's hard. So what happens to the ribs? What happens? Let's just take a few, and I just want you to feel what happens. Keep those low abs nice and engaged. Put your hand on your abdominal muscles, inhaling, keeping those abs engaged, exhaling. Notice where the breath goes. Okay, so I don't know, what I want you to do is I want you to put one hand on your low gut, one hand on your rib cage, and I want you to feel what's happening to your rib cage here. Inhaling, okay, keep those low abdominals engaged. And exhaling. As we exhale, let's re-engage those low abdominals. Okay, if you've got a good hold on keeping those low abdominals engaged, maybe put both hands on your ribs. Put one hand on each side of your rib. Every inhale, engage the low abs. Every exhale, recommit to that engagement of the low abs. Or, yes, the low abdominals, those low gut muscles. So I don't know about you, but what has to happen is that diaphragm has to go somewhere. That breath has to go somewhere. So my rib cage is opening, and your ribs will do this just a little bit. But your rib cage is going to open up a little bit, and it's going to come back together. Inhale, open up. Exhale, come back together. Inhale, open up. Exhale, come back together. Another great visualization, besides maybe opening the rib cage and feeling that opening of the rib cage, is I like to think about breathing into my back as well, right? So I kind of breathe in. I think almost like I have 2 oxygen tanks on my back. So I'm going to breathe into these oxygen tanks on my back as well. I'm going to allow my rib cage to open up while I'm maintaining my low abdominal muscles engaged, right? So because the diaphragm, if those low abdominal muscles are engaged, when it's trying to inhale, it's being blocked a little bit, right? So it's got to go somewhere, so it's going to go out. Feel free to put those hands back on the ribs, and let's feel that. So inhale. Keep going. We're going to do a good handful or 2 of these. Continuing to keep those breaths as long as you can. Inhales as long as you can. Exhales as long and full, complete exhale as you can. Inhaling through the nose if you can. Exhaling through the nose if you can. And keeping those low abdominals engaged. So I want you to continue practicing this. Being able to tune in and dropping into this, it's gonna, it optimizes our body's efficiency, right? The diaphragm is the main breathing muscle. So, if we're not using that, but we're only using like shallow breathing techniques and kind of these upper ribs, the shoulder girdle and the neck, then we're not quite efficiently breathing, right? And our body is working harder than it should just to get oxygen, and we're not getting those nice deep breaths we should. As well, as I mentioned, diaphragmatic breathing is one of the best ways for us to kind of control our, tap into that mindfulness when those moments of fight, flight, or freeze come to us, and it's gonna happen, right? Modern day life for most of us. Are we gonna allow that to take over, or can we tap into that mindfulness, tap into our diaphragmatic breathing, and be able to react in maybe a more, intelligent manner, if that makes sense, rather than just allowing the chaos of the moment to take over, which happens, right? Fight or flight. There's a reason. So, some people go straight into that very quickly. As well, so one last thing to mention, you may have heard, not sure if you can hear me breathing or not, but we go into, when we're working on that deep, deep breathing, we go into the Ujjayi breathing. You'll start to hear it after you've been practicing some of these deep breathing techniques for long enough. And it almost sounds to some people like an ocean wave. I personally kind of feel it sounds a little bit like Darth Vader breathing, for those of us who are Star Wars junkies. Whatever works, but you'll kind of hear it. And what I imagine happening is, you're just taking such a deep breath in, and the throat is, your diaphragm and your throat is working with you. So it's almost like, it's just the air pressure. It's just able to rush right in, right? Like the air is just coming right into you. So it's an even more efficient way to breathe, if you will. You're working less hard once you tap into some of that Ujjayi breathing. And to be honest, yes, when you look at lungs, the pressure, allowing them to just fill up, that's kind of naturally what they want to do, with the pressure of the atmosphere, or the oxygen outside, everything inside. They kind of want to fill up. So we're actually putting a little more effort into exhaling from kind of an anatomical viewpoint. Anyway, that's all I wanted to mention this morning. So I'm really excited. I do have some yoga classes I'm going to be teaching in my local area coming up very shortly. For those who don't know, I also created and co-hosted continue to co-host, BellyDance retreat, Emerald Sanctuary BellyDance retreat. As well, I have some BellyDance classes in my local area, live in person coming up. Super excited. I'll put some links for those in the description if anybody wants to check them out, see what I've got going on. And other than that, also hopefully my website will be up soon. We'll see. All right, I hope you have a great day. Have some fun playing around with these Ujjayi breathing techniques, diaphragmatic breathing techniques, and namaste. Thank you. All right, say bye, kitty kitty.